and it's really gorgeous and celebratory. So that's our rice, but we're sort of making two dishes in one. One is the rice, but the other part is the crunchy bottom layer of the rice. And today, by special request, we are not going to just make a plain rice tadig, which is also ho-hum and every day. We are going to do a potato tadig. So this is really exciting. Let's get started. Okay, so you can see I have a couple pans over here on the stove. Are we following me over to the stove here? Yes, okay. So I have a cast iron skillet that I am going to make my rice in. And meanwhile, over here in this big pan, I just have some onions browning. And that's going to sort of be mixed into the rice. Okay. So tadig is a really tricky thing. There are a lot of little tricks that you can use to sort of help you achieve the perfect texture. And one of them is using something called a rice bonnet. And I just remembered I need to go grab it across the kitchen. Hold on. Okay. So here it is. This is what it looks like. And it fits under the lid of the rice pot. It looks like, you know, a shower cap, but you'll see how it works when we get to this stage. Okay, so I have this pan already warming. It's on very, very low heat. But what I want is to put the potato slices down and get a very subtle sizzle because that's going to help them start to brown. Okay, so this is moderately hot. It's been on low heat for about 5 minutes. So the next thing I'm going to do is pour a generous amount of olive oil, or sorry, actually this is canola oil, and you can kind of use any oil you like, but I have canola oil. And I'm going to pour a generous amount over the bottom. So can you see this? Is this visible on the camera? Oh, good. So it's about, say 3 tablespoons. Actually, another oil that would work really nicely here, especially in this dish, because it's got these sweet and spicy flavors, is coconut oil would work really well. Okay, so I have my hot, oily pan. And fat is a really important part of making tadig because you're frying the rice on the bottom and you're steaming the rice on the top. And if you don't have enough oil in the bottom, you can't fry. Frying is all about fat. So you want to have a generous layer of your fat. And actually, just to be sure, I'm going to add a little bit extra. There was a little bit less in that canola bottle than I wanted. Okay. So I just threw in a scoop of coconut oil. So now I'm going to lay down my potato slices. Now you can use Yukon Gold, you can use russet. It really doesn't matter, but you want to peel them and you want to slice them about 1/4 inch thick. You don't want them to be too thin or too thick, or you will not get the right crunchy texture. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to try and perfectly cover the bottom of this pan with potato slices. So I'm going to turn this heat up a little bit. Okay, but I have to really work fast and consciously here because too long or too short a time at this stage when the potatoes are already heating, and I will mess up the tadig. Okay. color and flavor. And now, I'm going to turn my pan down a little bit. It's getting too hot. I don't want things to cook too quickly. So the next thing I'm going to do is I have the rice that's going to go on top. Now, this rice was parboiled. So I boiled this rice for about 4 minutes until the texture felt mostly cooked through, tender, but still just a little bit toothsome. I didn't want it cooked all the way through, but I want it cooked most of the way through. And right now I'm setting aside about 2 cups of this rice, okay? And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take about a couple of tablespoons of some yogurt, some thick yogurt. I'm gonna mix it in there. And this is sort of one of the ways to ensure that you get a nice, intact tadig layer. So I'm mixing it in and it's kind of forming a paste. And what I wanted to say is the reason that I par cook the rice is that I don't want to boil this rice all the way through. When you make regular rice, everyday rice, you boil it all the way through and it comes out nice, fine, whatever. With Persian rice, when you want to make tadig, it's a bit more of a delicate process. So you don't want to boil all the way through. You want to finish it by steaming, which is a lot more gentle. So you soak the rice in cold water for about an hour, or you can even do it as long as overnight. And then you rinse out that soaking water and you're getting rid of a lot of the extra starch that's on the rice. And there's a lot of great reasons to do that, which I'll explain in a minute. Okay, so here's my nice rice paste. Now I'm going to spoon this layer down to cover the potatoes. It looks like I want just a teeny bit more to really cover that bottom well. Okay, so I'm going to fill in any gaps that didn't get covered. And I'm going to really press this down. So this is really exciting. This is when all the magic happens, is in these preparatory stages. So I have my bottom layer of rice. And I'm going to pat it down. So it's nice and compact, and I'm even going to use my hand because I'm not actually touching the bottom. I'm not touching anything hot, and my hand just fits so perfectly into the contours. But what I want is this for all of this to hang together as one intact layer. Up a little bit. It's still just about on medium, but now that that bottom layer is down, I'm going to load in the rest of my par-cooked rice. And here, even at this stage, there's some really specific things that I want to do. So I'm piling this in kind of delicately. And I really want most of the rice to land in the middle of the bowl. I'm kind of building a pyramid shape. And the reason for that is there's no oil on the sides of this pot, of this pan. So if the rice is touching the sides, it'll kind of burn. I'm not looking for crispy or, burnt rice layer around the edge. I really just want that crispy rice layer on the bottom. Right? So I have my pyramid shape. Check your chest. Ooh, I've been reminded to check my text if there's any messages. Hold on.
I'm a little unclear on the sound if you're hearing this.
Oh, we can't hear anything. Wait a second. Tell James to unmute.
I have unmuted.
Okay. Ooh, I hope you can hear me now. Ooh. Okay. Sorry about that technical difficulty. Okay, so I have my pyramid of rice, and it's away from the sides. So now that I have that, I'm going to poke some holes in the rice. And this helps to allow steam to escape. What we want is for this rice to be fluffy and kind of dry,
you want the opposite of, say, a Thai sticky rice or a Chinese sticky rice. You want fluffiness, separated grains, real just light as a feather. Okay, so I have my holes poked. I have my pyramid shape. I'm gonna do just a little bit of salt over the top so this has some flavor. And then one of the secrets of good Persian rice is adding more fat in. So you could add coconut oil, you could add ghee. I'm gonna add straight up butter. This is kind of the most common thing to add. This is what my dad added growing up. Lots and lots of butter. Hi, Dante. Okay, so I'm just gonna be really generous with this. It's coming out to probably over 2 tablespoons. Okay, so all the while my potato layer is cooking on the bottom. But if I actually want this to crisp up, I'm going to have to turn up the heat a little bit, which is always kind of scary because you take a chance when you turn up the heat that something could burn. But if you don't turn up the heat, then you run the risk of getting limp tatting, which is just almost as bad. So I'm going to put my lid on. Yeah, oh, she says we're fine. So I'm going to put the lid on. I'm turning the heat up to a little bit, just to medium. And I'm going to set my timer for 5 minutes. Now, I think in the recipe that you all can see, it says 8 minutes, but this stage went a little long, so I'm going to curtail it a little bit because I don't want the potatoes to overcook. So I have my timer going. Okay, so that's going to be my beautiful tatty. But meanwhile, I'm going to work on the filling for the shireen polo. All right, so over here in this other pan, I have just some diced onion cooking. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to saute my vegetables and nuts and spices in this pan. And when this rice is finished cooking, I am going to fold in my beautiful sauteed mixture into that cooked rice. Okay, that's the idea that you're going for here, is a beautiful fluffy pile of cooked rice with all different colors and textures in it. So my onions are cooking away. Let's look at my recipe and see what else I need to put in. So I have onions in there. And those are looking pretty soft, so. And the fat that I have in there, actually, I have coconut oil in there. I really like coconut oil with this recipe because it's, the flavors are almost kind of tropical. There is cinnamon, there is, cardamom, there's turmeric, and it's kind of sweet. Some people actually put sugar into their shireen polo. I'm going to be putting a little bit of honey, and I feel like it's almost a dessert-like dish. So coconut oil kind of really lends itself to these flavors. So if you sometimes you use coconut oil and you don't want to taste the coconut, but here the coconut actually really complements everything. So these look nice and tender, a little bit brown. They don't need to be crazy caramelized for this recipe, although we do a lot of caramelized onions in Persian cooking. But for this one, they can just be kind of brown. So the next thing I'm going to add in is some grated carrots. So this is about 3 large carrots. And, it's up to you if you end up making a really big batch of this. You can do more carrots, or if you make a small batch, you can do less. But what the carrots give to this is flavor, but also color. They make this really beautiful and festive. So I'm going to throw these in, and because they're grated, they don't really need a ton of cooking time. They cook really fast. So I'm going to mix these in. Oh, that's nice, and I can actually really smell the fragrance of that coconut. Smells great. And let's see. Ooh, okay. So I also have some almonds that I'm going to add in. These are some slivered almonds. These can go in at this stage. Now, normally I would like to toast these almonds ahead of time, but today it was so hot in our house that I did not want to take the time to turn the oven on. So these are whatever, just straight up raw slivered almonds. And the reason I like to toast is they just have a little bit more richness of flavor, but it's fine to use them raw. These are nice, so these are going to go right in. And I have this on about a medium low heat. This stove is pretty powerful. Okay, so that's in there. See, I'm going to add my seasonings. So these seasonings are so beautiful for this dish. Here's cinnamon, about a teaspoon of cinnamon, teaspoon of cardamom, and about a 1/4 teaspoon of beautiful bright yellow turmeric. We use turmeric in almost every single dish in Persian cooking. It's used in stews, it's used with meat, but it's also used in rice dishes. You can use it with eggs. And when I first really started cooking Persian food in earnest as an adult, there's my timer. I wasn't that crazy about turmeric, but now I'm kind of addicted to it. I love the flavor. Okay, so my timer went off for my potatoes or for my rice. So I can hear all this crackling happening over here. So that's good. That means there's some frying going on. So I don't know if you can see, but there's a lot of condensation under this lid. I want to get rid of that. I'm going to dump it out in the sink. So all this water is coming out. I do not want that water in my rice. That is going to contribute to making my rice sticky and soft, and that's what I don't want. So this is where my rice bonnet comes in. So can you see me over here? Yes, I hope so. Okay, so this is the lid to my rice pan. I'm going to take this little bonnet here, and I'm going to put it over the bottom of this lid. So it's really kind of hard to explain theoretically, but if you see what I'm talking about and the reason why I use it, then it all makes sense. So here it is on top of the lid, and I'm going to put it right down on top of my rice pan. The idea is it's going to soak up the condensation that rises up from the rice that's cooking. Okay, so got that. Now, a really great tool to have around if you are making Persian rice and you want to make teddy is a flame tamer or a diffuser. And what this does is you put it under your pan, and it makes it so that you don't have any hot spots. It really evens out the flame underneath the pan. If you don't have one of these, it's okay. But if you really want to master this, get one. Okay, so I'm turning my heat down to low. I'm not turning it down to the lowest low, but I'm turning it to low with the flame tamer. That way it continues to cook, but it continues to cook gently and evenly with the flame tamer. Now, earlier, I was making some teddy because to make this whole dish, it takes, a good hour, and we're not going to sit here for an hour while you watch every step of this. So I had to make, a beautiful finished version of the potato teddy. And since I only have one of these in circulation, one of these rice bonnets, I used a layer of paper towels, which is what most people use. That's what my Iranian dad used growing up when he made this dish. And it caught on fire. So that can happen. And that's a really good thing to be aware of. If you don't have one of these rice bonnets and you want to do this, you can always use a dish towel. You can use a paper towel, but you really want to be aware of your flame and making sure you're on top of it so things don't catch on fire. A nice thing about using this damn funny, that's the Farsi word for it, or rice bonnet, is that it's obviously fitted to the lid and it's not going to droop over onto your flame. Okay, so here is my beautiful rice. It's looking orange. It's got these sweet spices coming up. I need to, oh, what?
Sure.
Oh, I need to show it to the screen? Okay. So it's looking really, really beautiful and it smells so good. And if you're making this and you eyeball it and it seems like it's sticking to the pan just a tiny bit, feel free to throw in a little bit more fat. That carries flavor. That's going to make this a successful dish. Hi, Dante. You can taste this at the end. Okay, so this is looking really good. It's been on here for about 5 minutes. The carrots are getting tender. So let's see. I'm ready to throw in a couple more things. Ooh, okay. So I have some orange zest that's going to go in here. This is going to give this really beautiful festive smell, like the holidays, you know, kind of like Christmas. Iranians have always used fruit in savory dishes like pomegranate, orange, sour orange, gosh, pretty much every fruit that you can cook with. Peaches, cherries, and it gets paired with meat. And they say that this Persian pairing of fruit with savory dishes made its way over to the West from Iran. And it gave us dishes like, you know, duck à l'orange, and who knows, maybe it even gave us the idea of Thanksgiving turkey with cranberry sauce. I like to think so. But definitely these flavors, turmeric and cinnamon and orange, they all came from the East and made their way west. So I have my orange zest in there, and I have some beautiful, just coarsely chopped green pistachios. These are one of the prize ingredients of Persian cooking. They are beautiful, and they're also really tasty, and they are native to Iran. So I'm going to toss these in. I don't want them to spend too much time in the pan because pistachios can burn. So I'm just really kind of heating them through. So that's that. And I'm going to add about 1/4 cup of honey. So this dish is so much fun. It's sweet, and it's also, you know, nice and rich with the oils, and it's got the carbs from the rice and the carrots. It's a real comfort food. And I personally like to pair this with chicken. I think it goes really nicely with chicken. It would also go great with fish. But in my cookbook, I have a really simple recipe for turmeric chicken. And I like to pair it with this because the turmeric chicken is kind of acidic and this is very sweet, so they're a nice balance. Okay, so this is looking good. Needs a dash of salt. So now, this is the fun part. I am going to show you all of the potato tahdig that I made earlier. So this is always a moment of truth. So let's see how it's looking. Okay, so we're going to need to maybe move the camera a little bit for this. Okay. So here we go. I'm going to come right back over here. Don't leave this there. Okay. So I cooked this tahdig. It finished cooking maybe 40 minutes ago or so. So usually, ideally, what you want to do, whoo, sorry for that sound. What you want to do is let your tahdig rest for, 5 to 10 minutes. Give it a chance to just kind of relax in the pan, and then flip it. So mine has sat a little bit long, but hopefully it's all going to work out. So here's my partly singed paper towel you can see. So I'm going to start by taking the this top layer of rice, and I'm gonna scoop it into this bowl. And the idea is to get the rice out without affecting the delicate tadig on the bottom. But I can already see lots of brown color kind of showing up on the bottom of the pan. So hopefully this is going to be some great tadig. Now, this rice is coming out really beautifully. You can see it's just really fluffy and light, and it's all separated. Okay, so I want to get all this nice rice out, and this will get served sort of separately. Well, you can do it however you want. I mean, you can flip this all together if you want to, but I like to take out the rice and then serve it separately from the tadig. But some people like to flip the whole thing and have a big cake with tadig on the bottom. So, or on the top. So here is my pan. That's sort of my filling. So this is going to be one dish. I am going to put my sauteed carrots and almonds and pistachios in here. Oh my gosh, this smells so good. It's really sweet and spicy, and it should look really beautiful. Okay, so I'm going to stir these things together, and then you can see how it looks. Just mix that right in, and it folds in really beautifully right into the rice. A little bit more of this in. So that's what that looks like. And then the final thing that this gets is a little bit of saffron. So I have this saffron water, and I'm going to eyeball it, and I'm going to pour in about a tablespoon. And this is going to give this a really, really pretty color. So I'll put this in a slightly nicer bowl. You can really see. And then over here on this end, my gosh, we are going to have a pretty good dinner, and I think everyone's going to be really hungry after this. And I hope that you will make this, because even if you don't want to make the tadig version, the whole crunchy rice deal, you can just cook rice the way you regularly would and stir in this sauteed mixture, and it's really easy, and it looks gorgeous, and it'll still taste great. So there's the finished rice. There's the rice part. So now, the moment of truth. I'm going to flip my tadig onto this plate. So it's a good idea to go around the bottom with an offset spatula and just kind of loosen it. Just do yourself a favor. Just help yourself out. Hope that it's going to help loosen things. Okay? So this looks good. All right. So I'm going to put my dish on top. Maybe a little smaller dish. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to put my dish on top, and then I am just going to flip. So here we go. Oh my goodness, but even though I slipped just a tiny bit, the potato tadig looks really nice. Now, because it's been sitting for a little bit, it's a little bit, floppy. You would want it to take this right out, right when it's finished, and then you'll have that nice crunch. But we will still be enjoying these, and I might try to resuscitate them by just frying them up in a hot pan for a second, but I'm going to taste it. That's really good. I've got the saffron on there, salt, the oil. And if you want to see what the other side of the potatoes look like, that's the pan side. This is the side that was facing up. So these aren't quite as brown on this side, so really yummy. So good luck. I hope you will try this at home. And I hope that we can do another one of our Nashville classes so I can show you this one in person. All right, everyone. It was super fun hanging out with you, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Have a great weekend.
That was totally screwed up.
Mhm.